Is it worth it? Let me work it.
The price is wrong.
Hey, what's up, gang? It's Adam and Lowry from the Commander Smiths, and we got a little bit of it's time for.
Is it worth it? Let me work it.
I like that you're dancing.
I like that I'm dancing too.
Okay, Lowry, what are we doing here? How does this all work? What are we doing with all these decks? We got 4 decks to talk about, but how are the parameters of this?
So basically, this is we got the new Precons from Modern Horizons 3 coming out. It is pretty awesome, by the way. Not all of them, but basically what we're doing here is we're taking the reprinted cards in each of these decks and adding up the totals and telling you what cards are good in there, what are not. We are not including in the price the new cards because those are a lot more volatile and harder to track and know. Sometimes there's some obvious ones,
right,
and we will talk about 3 new cards per deck that we like or that are a good price, or whatever we say about it. But other than that, it's just taking the reprints, adding up the values in it, and going, hey, this is how much this deck costs to buy singularly or total, and is it worth it with the reprints?
Is it worth it?
Right.
But if it's not worth it, you get this.
The price is wrong.
Which we might have one of those in here. Well, we'll see. There might be 2, maybe 1, 2.
We'll 2? Definitely
well,
1.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see what
so
happens.
Each of us dug into 2 of them, and we have a graveyard Goyf style deck. You have Eldrazi, you have Energy, and then you have Tricky Terrain, which is kind of copying lands. It's kind of land focused a little bit, and so that's what we're kind of gonna do. What are we starting with?
Well,
here?
And the other thing I want to note is we also will have deck upgrades next week. So of these same decks, we will be doing budget upgrades and non-budget. So yeah, this is just kind of the intro to, hey, if you guys want to get this, what you normally say, which is really a good point, is all of these are worth it if you don't have them and if you want the card, like you don't have a lot of the cards that are in it. So that's
really smart of me to say normally.
So if you don't have these cards, a lot of these Precons are very good decks to pick up, and they're all going to be worth it for you. These are going to be a little different than our, the normal standard sets because they're a little bit more pricey. So this is a little harder to work in, but in that, we do have some more expensive cards. So let's get things started. We're going to start off with the very first deck, which is the Graveyard Overdrive deck. And this is what Larry was talking about with the Goyf deck in this one. So this one actually has quite a bit of value in this. So you're looking at $48 to buy this. So it's pretty cheap out of the... How much are the other 3? Yours was 70. Your 2 are 70 a piece, right? Is that right?
I didn't actually check on the energy one.
Okay.
I was going to hope... So this one's what, 50? You're saying 50?
Yeah, about $48. So
that ain't bad.
$48 for this one. You got a ton of new cards with this. You got a ton of reprints in this. Let's move on to like the reprint stuff. So we actually have only about 4 cards. If you look back at our other videos when you're doing the standard sets, we had 0 cards or 1 card that was over 10. So when you get these special sets, you tend to get more value, and that's why the decks tend to be a little bit more. There are 4 cards in this particular commander deck, and the total of that comes to $44. So you have Savala, Heart of the Wilds in this. That's 11. Archon of Cruelty, The Reaver Cleaver. Actually, I wrote 4. There's really only 3 cards. What am I missing one? You know what? My value's off by $10 because I wrote
What?
Because I did. Here, I figured out what I did. I wrote cards over $10, and I added that in when I when I did it. So take.
So it's really
$71. Okay, so
we are the Commander Smiths, not the math Smiths.
I did take a lot of math in college.
Sorry,
but yeah,
we don't have a math button, but this is the closest I can get.
Thank you.
You can't even.
Oh, it does say 1122.
That works out perfect. All right, so really it's $34. The Reaver Cleaver is something that I don't even have, so I'm really happy that that's in this commander deck because we both did order both of these.
Oh,
Right.
good.
Just because it's a lot of new cards in them. So Reaver Cleaver's at 13. That's your most expensive card. That's out of reprints there.
Did you happen to count how many new cards are in this deck?
I didn't.
Okay,
I
that's
didn't.
fair. That's fair. I was
You
not
did on some
expecting
of
it.
that?
I did because you asked.
Yeah.
And then I expected you to, but I'm not mad that you didn't by any means.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. I'll tell you,
I don't
the
have that emotional range.
Eldrazi one has a lot of new cards, and we'll get to that later. Out of the cards that are between the $2 and $10 range, there were 7 cards. You have Junji, Zatora, Grist, Garuk, Greaves. Maskwood Nexus, surprisingly, is an $8 card at this point.
Yeah.
And then Chandra's Ignition. So that brings you to $37. Total value, remember, it's wrong what I wrote there. It's $71. So you're paying $48. You got $71 of value of cards that you can actually move. The reason why we kind of pick these numbers, and you don't just go off of like Goldfish's numbers because they grab everything that's like 25 cents. You can't move 25-cent cards unless you're putting on like Card Sphere or buy listing. So that's just a pain in the ass. So
the 25-cent cards you give away to kids, or your local store or whatever,
or you use them to put on proxies. No, you put proxies on them.
Absolutely.
So yeah, out of all that, it comes up to $71. You pay $48, so you're actually making some money back. If you have a lot of these cards, like a lot of them, I don't have the Reaver Cleaver, but everything else I do. Archon of Cruelty, that's an expensive card as well. I could sell those and make half my money back just in 2 of the cards. Not half, 2/3 of my money back. No, that's more than half. 2/5.
Give me a second.
She can't even.
This one is not working out with my math skills
struggling.
at this point.
We got to push to record tonight. Maybe we should just
just cut it
cut
off
it right now.
No,
Head back, double check, spell check. I don't know.
So
I'm gonna fuck up too.
Just in the value alone, this is good, but we're not doing the worth it part yet. So we got to move on to.
We're not. So really what we're saying, it's $50 to buy you, and there's $71 in reprinted value at this point.
Between about 10 cards that you could move around and make that money. So if you have the cards already, that's a good value right there. But let's talk about the new cards, because there's actually quite a few, but these are the 3 that stood out to me as ones that potentially financially could be up there, and also that are cool cards. So that's kind of how I picked them. I don't know exactly how you did them necessarily, but
I don't either.
This one, so Final Act was the first one I wanted to talk about. This one's a 6-drop. It's a board wipe, but this hits something that we haven't dealt with before. Actually, 2 things, because battles are kind of new too. But it's destroy all creatures. You get to choose 1 or more. Destroy all creatures. Destroy all planeswalkers. Destroy all battles. They really haven't gone more back to the battles as much, so I'm not as concerned with that. But we also have exile all graveyards, or each opponent loses all counters. So that counts for your experience counters, poison,
energy counters.
Poison, you wouldn't really want them to lose that, but energy counters. I wonder though, that doesn't remove an emblem because that isn't a counter, right?
Correct.
Yes, but
Correct.
we finally get to get rid of experience counters. This is the first thing we've ever been really able to deal with that on a mass basis, really, right? Maybe there might be another card out there.
There's probably other cards.
But you have this mode of choosing. We have Farewell, which is really good because it has exile effect on all this stuff.
Yeah.
This has Destroy.
There's a lot of choices on Farewell, and this one has a lot of choices.
Yes. So I think this one's a pretty decent card. We don't particularly play board wipes personally with our decks and everything, so I won't necessarily be using this, but I can see people using this card a lot just because it hits a lot of different things. in the Goyf deck, of course, I have to talk about a Goyf. So borrow Goyf. I think this is one of the cooler ones because it's 2 and 1 black. It has Death Touch, Lifelink. Its power, it does the same thing that Goyfs do. So its power and toughness equal to all the different card types in everybody's graveyard +1 for the toughness. But then whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may mill that many cards. If you do, you may put a creature card from among them into your hand. So anything that you mill that's a creature there, boom, you're getting a little bit of card advantage. It has Death Touch and Lifelink built in on it. So that's really nice there because people, you look confused. What are you confused about? What are you looking? What?
So you're milling your deck?
You mill yourself, yes. But
okay.
For how
like,
much?
What the shit?
How much damage you do, you mill that many cards. So that's kind of, you know, the bigger he is, the more you mill, and then you get.
I mean, that still seems really good for the Mothman deck.
That is a good point. Hey, you might bring back your Goyf Mothman deck.
I'm not going to, but I think Mothman's a great Goyf deck.
Yeah.
But
there is a lot of Goyfs in this, and I didn't want to just keep picking Goyfs, so I went with another cool card.
Gotcha.
Sawhorn Nemesis. This one seems pretty sweet. 3 and 1 red. It's a dinosaur. It enters the battlefield. You choose a player. So you're doing the Nemesis thing. If a source would deal damage to the chosen player or a permanent they control, it doubles that damage. So you could basically, whoever the arch enemy is at the table, you play it. This guy's a dinosaur, so it fits in dinosaur decks. And now anybody that hits that person or their things is double. This is a really dick card to a certain person.
Mana, that's quite good.
Yeah, so I thought these 3, at the moment, they're quite expensive. Once these decks come out, they'll probably drop a bit. But they seem pretty cool and pretty unique. I like this deck. I'm very tempted, as we talked about on the podcast. I wasn't sure I was going to build this, but now I'm like, this might be kind of fun. I like all the different Goyfs.
Doing this always draws you into one of the decks.
I know it
and
does.
so
especially when
I don't doubt
you. The upgrades, that's when it gets me. It's like, well, I already did the work. Why not just do this upgrade and then I have the deck? So yeah. Okay, so all that being said, since I did the breakdown of mine, I'm going to let you decide first. Lowry, is this one worth it? Or is this one...
The price is wrong.
The price wrong. Which one are we here on this? How are you with it?
Okay, so I'll say this for every deck, but basically I'm looking for new cards. Reprints don't interest me much other than like the trade value, and that's why this is kind of important. So understanding we got a $71 product, and I bought all 4 of them at, I think it's what, $260, and after shipping and taxes it was like $280, so roughly $70 per deck. And so I didn't get it at $50, but I also got Eldrazi at $70 instead of the inflated price that you're going to say later. And so that kind of balances it out a little bit. But for me, if I was just going to buy this as a singular deck, I would probably avoid it. So I'm going to say that the price is wrong.
The price is wrong.
But barely. Like, it's close.
Yeah, I think for me, you know, the Reaver Cleaver is one that I didn't have. So that's one of the big guys, the most expensive that's not a new card in here. Again, this was one of the commanders that I liked when we talked about it on the podcast. Yeah. I think there's enough other value there that I could move, you know, of the cards that are under $10, between that $2 and $10, I could move $37 worth. And so I'm only about $11 off for what the total is.
Okay.
I could get rid of Savala and there I'm at my price, and now I got all these new cards. So for me, and again, that's work. That's the thing you also got to think about is you're having to do some work to get your money back. But because I like this deck, I kind of want to build it. I like the new cards. There's some good value in it. For me, the deck's worth it for me. So, I mean, that's not a surprise. So, all right, Lowry, we're moving on to your deck here. Why don't you introduce us to Tricky Terrain?
Tricky Terrain. It's a green-blue deck that's focusing on land and a bit of cloning that's going on as well. Kind of like, that's probably more of a sub-theme that's going on. But from what I was seeing on TCG, you could buy the Precon at $70 individually. So it's right on that price of, if you bought all 4 of them together on Amazon, it's $70. There's no way to get around paying $70 for this thing. There are some pretty dang good reprints in this one, in my opinion. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards that are over $10 or more.
Wow.
In Dryad of the Elysian Grove, Euro Titan of Nature's Wrath, Apex Devastator, which is the
big,
Cascade creature,
Cascade.
Mana Reflection, Vesuva, and Yavimaya Cradle of Growth, which is #Team Forest Walk.
You have to get it because you did it, you know?
Get
I know.
the fuck out!
Still think it's aggressive, but it's for $10 or more. You got $66 worth of value right there, which is essentially the price of the deck just in your reprints.
That's that are 10 plus. Yeah, that's crazy.
So obviously maybe I'm biased, and then you also have like another $30.50 in cards that are the $2 to $10 range underneath. The only huge ones that I would say that are really great are like Ramanop or Dark Depths is in there. You got Scute Swarm, Pongify, and then Chrome Lantern, Propaganda. So just kind of cards in there right there for a total of $96.50.
That's pretty
and
good.
if you're paying $70 for it, you know, there is really like between what you're saying, there's only like a $21, $23 difference in yours. This one is also like $26. There really isn't that big of a difference when it comes to value gap. Right? But I just really, really like that top end.
Yeah, you have a lot more cards that are the $66 is huge right there.
Right.
Just
that
the
to me is pretty
plus.
big. But we want to go into new cards now, right?
Yep, new cards. What do we got for the 3 new cards that you like here?
Yeah, and in total, from what I saw, there was about 15 new cards in here, and these were probably the ones that interested me the most, but also the 2 that looked to be about the most expensive. But Planar Nexus, up on the screen there, that was the most expensive card. I don't think the pre-sale price of $40+.
There's no way.
Is it?
No, that's
That ain't it. I wouldn't pre-order that. But
Yeah.
it's still a really interesting card. So it's a land, and it's every non-basic land type attached for a colorless, and you can pay 1, tap it, and add a mana of any color. So why is it so expensive when you're talking about every non-basic land type? You are talking about caves, deserts, locusts,
Wastes.
You got your Urza's waste. No, waste is a basic land type.
it is basic. Yep.
Yeah,
That's right.
and but the Urza's lands are kind of in that realm, and so this is all of that. It's like a changeling for lands.
Yeah.
And so
it
this
totally
is,
is.
I think it's interesting and unique, and people like playing with those even though they don't have a lot of support. And this is a card that's going to be able to be plugged into all of those different decks.
Right, and there is no downside to this. I mean, the downside, I guess, is that it creates it's a colorless. It doesn't come into play tapped, but you can create any color with tapping 1. So it's at worst one of those bad. Those other ones that come into play tapped, where you can tap 1 to make a color, they all come into play tapped. This at least is just a colorless, you know, and it doesn't come into play tapped, and then has that non-basic land type. That's.
Yeah.
This is a fantastic card. Yeah, I like it a
And
lot.
so, the other ones, caves, gates.
What is it? The
what else is
locust? Is it not locust? It's those lands?
Yeah, I think it's a locust.
It's locust,
Yeah, there's
right?
locust
Yeah.
lands, which is like cloud posts.
Yeah, and you said
there's-
mazes, right? Yeah, you said maze. Yeah,
Is
maybe you didn't.
maze a thing?
Well, no,
What's a maze?
not maze.
Gates.
Gates. Sorry. Yeah,
Okay,
that's what I was thinking.
yeah.
Because what is the game winning one? Isn't it maze of something? Rather?
Maze's End.
Maze's End. That's why I was thinking maze. I'm like, it's the,
Yeah.
it's the game winner one. Yeah. So this
So
adds to
what
that.
it does is it's a great piece for those underrepresented land decks that you're kind of making.
Yeah. Cool.
Next one is copy land. This is just an enchantment. When it comes into play, it becomes a copy of any land in play. And so if you got that asshole that plays Gaia's Cradle out there, or you see any other like Shrine to Nykthos, any powerful land that we may have talked about in a Power 9 episode lately.
That's a good
But I
plug.
think it's a really interesting and cool card. We know that Vesuva hits $10 to $15, and I can see this sticking in that $5 to $15 range.
Yeah.
I think quite sure where that would quite land,
Yeah,
but I think it's an interesting card.
Because Vesuva is it any land, or is it any land
Yeah,
you control?
any land.
Yeah. So this is similar, but yeah, enchantment on it and everything. Yeah, I dig that. That's a sweet card. So it's basically 3 for a ramp in a way, and then
right. It's a 3 mana ramp in
yep,
blue.
Yep, that's pretty
Not
good.
terrible.
And then your last one.
The last one is Ramanap Brogantua. Is that how I'm saying it? You want to hit the button for me?
You have the button. Oh, I do have it.
Kid can't even read.
Okay, so it's 2 and a green, 3/3 trample, and then it gets +10/+10 for each player that has lost the game.
Yes.
And then whenever it deals damage, you can mill that many cards. Is that?
So whenever it deals damage, you may mill that many cards. Put any number of land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped.
Right.
That's silly.
That's silly.
Yeah.
I mean, because really, one player loses a game. It's a 13/13 for 3 with trample.
The trample. Yeah.
With trample, and then
I mean, at the very least, it's a 3/3 for 3 with trample. You know, if they, so I mean,
I don't know how much
crazy.
I care about that part.
Yeah, it's the 10/10, but
Might be good in like a Rafika the Many deck where you're giving it like +1/+1 and double
counters
strike.
and stuff.
But
Yeah. That'd be, but it'd still, it's doing something. You're milling and getting some land out. I like that.
Right. I think it's a really, really cool card.
Imagine
it only gets better as the game goes on.
I was gonna say, imagine getting this like late game when 2 players are already dead.
It's just you versus them, and you're like, oh my god,
23,
and then you
23.
drop a 3 mana 23/23 with trample. Like, that seems good.
Yeah, this could be a good one for well, no, that'd be self mill with. I was gonna say it does fit. It's green with Mothman, so it could go on.
Also
Mothman.
true. Yeah, another Mothman card right there. I dig it.
Right.
I dig it.
All right, so I guess I'm the one that has to decide first on this one.
Right.
So
do you think this deck would be worth it at the similar gap of prices?
let me back up to the pricing there again. So you had $96.50 for the total, and you're saying like currently on TCG you get this for $70. Is that right?
Yes, that's what I was seeing.
Okay, so and was it 6 cards that gets us to 66 of the top end over 10?
6. Yep.
I mean, that's easy. I mean, this is easy because there's a lot of value there. There's some big stuff there. Your new cards, like I know Planner Nexus is not gonna be, like you said, it's not gonna stay 40, but that's a good card. Like it's gonna stay high. Like the new
and there's
cards,
a lot of land shenanigans in here. It kind of feels like the desert deck, but just like souped up.
Yeah.
So like the Precon deck from Outlaws, that was desert based. It felt like that. Like there's graveyards shenanigans that are going on, but people like land stuff.
Yeah.
And this is a land stuff deck.
Yeah. No, I dig this a lot. Yeah. So Larry, I'm guessing you're in the same boat?
Right. This is a worth it just because you have so many much bigger bigger top end.
Yep. Nope.
Topper big end.
Topper big end. All right. All right. We move on to and if there's anything else, if you guys don't think this one's worth it, please leave that in the comments. And if you're watching right now, please give this a like. That helps us out more than you know.
You can definitely sit down and be like, you guys are
crazy.
Keep your mean comments to yourself. All right.
Because we will bring it up later.
If you like it or don't like it, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, for sure. All right. The next one is the Eldrazi Incursion deck. This one, okay. So this one's interesting. When we get to the breakdown here, there's a lot. This one, first off, is $140 to buy. So this is by far
on TCG.
Yes, on TCG right now. So this is by far our most expensive.
We bought it as the 4
group.
Precons, and it came out to roughly $70 per deck.
Yeah.
So if you buy them all and you're interested in 3 of the 4, it's likely just buy all 4.
Right. Yeah.
Unless you don't want the Eldrazi deck for some reason.
So and I didn't count them up, but there is a lot. Oh wait, no, I did count them up. Sorry.
there was a lot of new cards.
There is 15 new cards, Eldrazi type cards. Not just there's more than 15, but there were 15 of them that are currently over $5 or more in the deck. So I don't have this in the breakdown of the numbers, but I have it written down here. When you get to the number value of this, it's $116 of new cards. Now, again, that is before it comes out, those prices are all going to drop.
Right.
All of them are going to drop. There's no way they're staying that
And
high.
any reprints likely
Are
will
gonna
drop as well. So like we should talk about that, even though like this video is going to get cut up a bit, so not every video is going to see this part, but reprints oftentimes drop in value, and so when we're talking about $75 in reprint value,
it's going to come down
be less than that
as these all come out. You know,
and so you're kind of banking on the new cards anyway.
But I will say that it doesn't get cut as bad as if it was in the set, like if it was in a standard set or whatever. So it gets hit, but it's almost kind of like the list in a way, maybe a little less.
Sometimes the list cards get hit really hard, and then other times they don't move at all.
So yeah.
So I don't know.
So okay. So 15 new cards that were over $5. There was more of them. I bet you this one's in that 20 range of new cards in this deck. So that's probably why this one's crazy, because there's a lot of Eldrazi. There was so many cards.
Eldrazi is also very popular.
Very popular. So, but of the cards that are over $10, we had 3 of them. Morophon is over $10 at this point because we did get it in the Commander Masters last fall. Eldrazi Monument is a $10 card, and Eldrazi Conscription is an $11 card. So that brings us up to 31. There was 10 cards that were between that $2 and $10 range, and that brought us up to $44. A lot of those, I didn't write down those this time on this.
Are they
deck.
reprinting Void Winnower?
It was not in there. No, but they did have they had Sire of Stagnation again. Like that sucker can never gain in value because it just keeps printing. They keep putting that out. Well, I guess they don't keep putting it. They don't put foil versions. So there's really only still the one foil version, I think, of Sire.
Yeah.
But anyways, so there a bunch of reprints. The biggest thing that I noted was because of the new cards is what really drives this value up, because we're talking $140, your reprint value of $75. There alone, you're like, it's not worth it. But when you're talking 15 cards that are $5 or more and brings you up to 116 added onto that 75, then it gets to be a little bit better. Let's talk about some of the new cards in this. Like I said, I could have done a crap
Get a little taste of what you're talking about when it comes to new cards.
And so I chose some cards that were could fit in a lot of different decks, not just Eldrazi decks. So the first one is Eldritch Immunity, which I'll probably use this one in a lot of decks, especially since it's just a one colorless mana. It's a Kindred instant Eldrazi, so they're doing that with this. But target creature you control gains protection from each color until end of turn. You can do Overload 4 and a colorless, so 4 of any color and a colorless. All your creatures gain protection from every color until your end of your turn. So this is great for protecting your stuff from mass damage, from blocking. Like this can go in so many decks as long as you are playing.
I mean, if it's giving protection, right?
Yep. Target creature you control gains protection.
That's an alpha strike as well. Like nobody can block your stuff.
That's a good point. Very good point.
That protection's good in 5 mana to be able to become unblockable or block everything and survive. Like
it's a lot.
I agree. That's a
I mean, that's
good
not
card.
a lot. I mean, for 5, that does a lot is what I meant to say. Like this is just very good.
Yes.
And then the next one is I'm going to go to the other side too. Eldrazi Confluence. This is 2 and then a colorless and a colorless. So, that's you have to use like Soul Ring, the colorless thing. That's what Eldrazi stuff does. It's also an instant, but you can choose all 3 of these modes. You can choose any of them you get to choose 3. And you can choose any of them as many times as you want. So you can choose 1 3 times. You can choose 1 and then 2 or whatever. But the modes are target creature gets +3, -3 until end of turn. So that kind of is some removal right there, or pumping your stuff up if it's big enough. Exile target non-land permanent from the battlefield. Wait, what is it? Let me read that again. Exile target non-land permanent, then return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. So you have a little bit of protection there. Board wipe happens. You can remove it, whatever, or somebody's targeting it. You can get rid of that. And then you can create an Eldrazi Scion, which they tap to give you a colorless. So the cool thing is you can choose any of these modes. You only get 3 choices, but you can choose however you want with it. So we like mode stuff when it comes to stuff, and this has protection built in on it, removal potentially, and kind of ramp in a way, because you could just go, I need mana, I'm gonna make 3 Eldrazi Scions, which are actually creatures too.
I've definitely eyed this up for my Riku of Many Paths deck that cares about modes, and I'm assuming that you're looking into this for the 5-color commander that deals in spawn.
So I did have a circle that in this deck, which we'll talk about in the upgrades. Azlask is what I really would. Azlask is what I'd like to be.
I do not look forward to playing this deck in the future.
So that I would have put this as a face, but as one of the cards to look out for. But I'm like, we're going to be talking about that one later, so that is not on here. But then the other one Eldrazi that is on here is a 2-colorless and a black Eldrazi horror. So this fits in your. Do you still have that? No, you don't.
You're
have that. Horror. Has Devoid 1/3, obviously, because this Eldrazi, Devoid, all that stuff. But whenever you cast the spell, remove all counters from up to 1 target permanent or opponent. The next spell you cast costs 1 less for each counter removed this way. Oh, and it also has Death Touch. Like I didn't even see that had it on there. It's at the bottom. It's weird that it's
That's
down there.
a weird place to put it.
Yeah, it's
actually.
like it shouldn't be up where the Devoid should be. Devoid, Death Touch, and then this ability. But whatever. So this really fits well with Eldrazi, but it can fit in other decks as well. I mean, people have counters on things. You could kill a Planeswalker by removing its counters, and then you're able to cast something for super cheap, depending on how many counters it has on it, or 1/1 counters, or experience counters. There's so many. There are counters in the game. Every game that you're pretty much in, you're going to see counters, and then you're making your next spell cost that much less. So you're hurting your opponent. You're getting something out that, I mean, I guess is a chump blocker at that point, a Death Touch. But then you're also making your next Eldrazi potentially be super cheap to come out, depending on how many counters are out there. This guy's $15 right now. It's not going to stay there, but it's a $15 card. But this is a card you could see not just in an Eldrazi deck. It can go in many, many other decks. So there's that.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, so now, all that being said, Lowry, we have a $140 deck. We have $75 in reprints. Currently, we have 15 cards that are over $5 of new cards that equal up to 116. So that brings us up to what? What is that? 180, 191 if you just go with flat value of what it is right now. Is this one worth it at 140?
That's not. You see, you're bringing in the other cards, which is not something we do.
I know. But this one didn't have a lot of value for how expensive it is.
Right. And so when we're talking about how much was the Precon individually?
$140.
Yeah, that I don't know if I would do that price. I understand that Eldrazi are super popular. I understand that there's a lot of new cards in here, so that's the part that tempts me going. I see the reprint value and I see that it's half the cost of what we're saying, and I 100% of the time that we've been doing this, I go, no way. The half of the reprint value of what you're paying, 100% that's a no. But the new cards look amazing.
There's a lot of good ones. Like I told you, I was like, I had a list, and I was like, I have to pick 3 of these.
Right, and you were like, can I do more? I was like, I only got 3. And so.
What are you gonna do here?
For $140, I'm gonna say, oh no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Yeah. No.
Buy all 4 of them.
Right.
You can buy. If you could justify buying all 4 of them, you're getting this at half price.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you.
It's worth another one.
This is my first.
The price is wrong.
The price is wrong for me on this one.
It feels wrong.
Yeah, I know.
It feels wrong.
Because the thing
this is also the price that the Eldrazi deck was
just about to bring that
Commander
up to you.
Masters last year.
The
right?
Commander Masters was super expensive. All those cards you can get for dirt cheap now. Like,
is it dirt cheap? Are you talking dirt cheap?
Well, you know what I'm saying.
Zolodoc is up to like $20, I think.
Is it? At one point, it was.
It's going up right now because of this.
Yeah. I was gonna say it was down there. I could have picked that up for sub 10, I think.
I didn't. I got mine for 8.
Yeah. So,
did it? No, I can do it. I'll do it.
Oh, good.
Oh,
you got a double.
Good for you.
But that's the thing is this is gonna hit, and then you can pick up these as singles. And is it worth it? No, I think you can get these for so much cheaper once people get them out there and try to get some money off of it. I don't know.
I don't think the Precon's ever going to go down though. But I think what you want to do is plan out what you're going to use.
Right. And like you said, if you're able to get a package deal of like how we got ours, you know, then
I don't feel bad about buying mine at 70 whatsoever.
Yeah.
Right.
So at 70, for sure this is worth it. But at 140, just pass on this one. Get the singles.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our last deck. Lowry, that is on you, buddy. What do we got here?
Okay, this is Creative Energy. This is an energy deck focused on that. And let's be honest, there's 2 sets that dealt with it, Aether Revolt and Kaladesh, and then you had a bit of it in
Fallout.
Fallout, thank you. I just Nuka-Cola was in my head. And so there's not. This is the deck that probably has the least amount of support for it, out of all of them. And so, the reprints was mincing words, bad, quite bad.
So your deck
reprint values at
is
$60.
Yeah, the deck value is 70, right? That's where you're at with that one.
No, I did look it up. Let me flip. You can buy this deck for $47.
Okay, this one's 47. Okay.
That's how unexcited and unenthused people are that are selling it.
Cheapest deck.
Right. And so your reprint value is at $60. You have cards 10 plus at $29, and that's only on 2 cards.
Oh wow.
Goldspan Dragon.
That's good.
And a Chroma's Will.
That's a good card too.
Right. Both good. I'm gonna say that Goldspan Dragon's overhyped. Maybe people will be mad at me about that. So like I look at this and I go, Chroma's Will is like the best card in the deck.
Yeah. It's an amazing card.
And then cards in between 2 and 10, you have $31 of value. 31 is just 31. We got that up there.
Yep, 31. Yep.
And basically you have the 2 most expensive energy cards being reprinted here in Aetherworks Marvel.
Oh, it did get in there? I didn't even realize they put it in.
It is in there, and Gonti's Aether Heart.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they got.
And so you got $6 and $8 at that point after the reprint. They were both over $10.
Hopefully, people didn't spec on that in the non-foils. Like that's when you go foils because of Commander.
I didn't get rid of mine as I wanted. But you also have Farewell in here and Professional Facebreaker.
Oh, that's good. Those are good cards.
Those aren't bad cards. But I mistakenly broke mine up into more, and so the $2 to $5 range, which is really like your card sphere trading away range, there's 2 cards that are in between $2 and $5, and it's a Darker Waste and Mystic Gate, which are lands $2 and $3 respectively. Because when you're talking about like the support of your energy cards, they're dirt cheap.
Yeah.
And a huge problem with this deck is if you don't want to build an energy deck, there's nothing there.
There's nothing you can do. Yeah, this is
right.
You have to be
this is an energy deck.
Yeah.
And all the cards that are basically here go in an energy deck, and they really don't go anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be the problem with energy. Also, it's the benefit of energy because it's really hard to stop energy. There isn't much interaction other than clearly in the 2 decks that you have. They have energy hate. So that's going to be your problem if you don't have a lot of these cards and you're interested in the deck. It's worth it.
Right. If you
we're not there yet, right? New cards.
All right, let's get to the new cards. All right, here we go.
All right, so you have Salvation Colossus, which is 6 and 2 white for a 9/9 flying vigilance trample, and whenever it attacks, other creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain indestructible until end of turn.
Nice.
Now, that's just a good card, and okay, good as in this is an over the top white card, right? It has a huge team pump on the attack trigger. It is hard to block. It's big.
The interesting part,
mana.
It does say whenever you attack, not just this. So
whenever you attack, it's not even that.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
So it
really
can come out, and then you can be attacking with stuff, and they are all indestructible. This can
and the
just
+2/+2.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about the
Like,
haste and all
That's
that
quite
stuff.
good. And then the energy part, as in it has Unearth, and you can pay 8 energy. Also, it's an artifact creature if you have some type of
Yeah,
artifact
construct.
shenanigans going on there. I think this is an interesting card. I think it gets lumped into the group of potential finishers in certain decks. It doesn't have to be just energy. But I also think this is probably going to end up being a sub $5 card.
Yeah, I mean, an 8 drop. I mean,
Right.
it is big. Flying Vigilance Trample is very nice, and that
That's
pump,
what she said. Sorry.
that pump is pretty nice, but like you said, I feel like the unearth part is gonna be, you're never gonna play like it. It's not gonna happen unless you're in an energy deck. So most of the time, that part doesn't even matter. You know, if you're wanting to play this in other decks. So there's no cheat. I guess it's artifacts, so you can. There are other things that can make this cost less and less and all that stuff. But still, yeah, that's a lot. It's big though. It's a big one.
Right. There was another one that was on my list that was interesting, but it's so energy focused. All right, so the other one, Aether, what's that word?
You want refinery or
Refinery, yeah, Aether Refinery, 4 and 2 red. It's an artifact. Whenever you create an energy, you double that instead, right?
Twice. Yep, twice that many instead. Yep.
Twice that many instead. So if you're making 3, you're making 6. It's not an additional one, it's doubling it. And then it taps to create an energy. And then you can, which is really 2 energy, and then you can use energy to create an XX creature.
Okay.
With the amount of energy that you use.
Man, no, that's a lot. It's 6, but it's doubling.
Right. But so it's, again, it's an energy deck, right? And so it's 6 mana, comes down, you can tap it to create 2 energy, and then use energy to get a creature right away.
Right. Yeah.
So it's creating a potentially big creature. And this is only for an energy deck.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want to pay 6 mana
and then
to drop it,
get
make 2, make a 2/2. That's not a good deal. Don't do it.
Yeah. Would not
so it
recommend.
has to be an energy deck. You have to have other sources of energy being like happening. This is where the card is good. Otherwise, it's not a good one. Again, I really, until energy and they support it more and more, and then it ends up being ridiculous. All the cards are going to be cheap.
Yeah, I got you. All right, and then you have localized destruction.
Yeah, 3 mana, 2 white, sorcery. You get 1 energy, and then you can pay an amount of energy to give your creatures indestructible for the power, or as much energy as you spent, and then you destroy all creatures.
So you get 1, then you may pay 1 or more if you do each creature you control with power equal to that energy. Okay.
Oh, it's not less than?
Sorry. Equal to the amount. No, it is equal to the amount. If you do
So-
creatures you control
brutal.
with power equal to the amount of energy paid with this, gain indestructible, and then you destroy all creatures.
Okay, so I had kind of thought that it would be the amount or
Right,
less.
or less. So
And so
I mean,
you'd
it's-
save a bunch.
It
But
saves your tokens.
it's rare to have a wrath effect that allows indestructibility as well, if that even occurs. So I thought that was a fairly unique type of card in that regard. It is a little rough when it's only doing like 1 power or 0 power or whatever. Like,
I mean, it'd be good in like a
again,
1/1
energy deck.
Yeah, energy deck. But I was gonna say could be in regular other. I'm trying to think of other decks it could be good with.
I don't think it goes in other decks.
1/1
Like-
rats.
Token decks, 1/1 token decks,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, then you get the 1 and
Giselle Goldmane, I don't know.
But those you normally want to get them big. Like you don't want them to stay 1/1. So that
That's
probably
true.
doesn't work.
I mean,
good.
unless you're trying to destroy all creatures and make them indestructible. But
All
yeah,
right.
I don't know.
Let's get to the.
So this one was rough.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say right away.
The price is wrong.
Like the cards.
yeah.
That like the special cards, like you said, they're meant for energy, and so you have no other decks that you can put them in. So the value,
the flexibility in use,
it doesn't
is,
like even
is
though
lacking.
that you have $48 or $47 to buy this, you got a $13 profit off of it with the reprints and everything, but the new stuff, it doesn't make me want it, you know? So for me, the price is wrong on this one. How are you in the same boat?
Fully agree.
Oh, yeah.
I think, yeah, you can hit the button for me too if you want.
The price is
Just
wrong.
repetition's important.
Yeah.
I can understand if you don't want this deck, but it's essentially if you buy in bulk all 4 decks, it's like getting this for free with the Eldrazi deck.
There you go.
If you think about it like that.
There you go.
But yeah, a lot of these cards aren't going to be used in other decks unless if you're interested in energy, for sure.
Yeah.
This is a solid deck to be getting.
Well, yeah, if you went and got the Fallout energy deck, you got some more tools here. You can get this and then
mash them up.
Yeah, actually can use both of them together. So it's kind of nice that we did get 2 energy commander decks within a couple months of each other, so we get a little bit more support. But like you said, there still isn't enough. You need quite a bit more energy in this. So, all right, I think that's it, right? I mean, I think that's all we're gonna talk about. All right, if there's anything, any of the decks that you guys think that you like better, or that you would want to buy, or we are wrong about something about one of these decks, you think they're fantastic, or we're idiots, don't do that. But if you think that, no, there's no way I'd buy that
keep
deck.
Keep your mean comments yourself.
But we'd like to hear
low
and see
self-esteem.
which decks you guys are planning on buying, or if you're planning on buying the bulk thing, that idea, or pulling off singles. So leave that in the comments below. That should do it here. Again, we're going to be doing the commander upgrades.
If you enjoyed this, we have a podcast every Monday night. Well, every Monday night is in quotations. Sometimes it's Tuesday and sometimes it's
Friday.
We're flexible,
Friday,
but we
sometimes
aim for Monday,
Mondays.
9 a.m. Central, 9 p.m. Central. And then we also do a lot of different shorts.
It'd be weird
and
taking
YouTube
Malort shots at 9 a.m.
And the TT, and we're new on the Insta, I guess.
Look at you talking all like young.
Yeah, well, I also don't want YouTube to like censor us. if they don't like those other brands and stuff like that. I don't know. So we also do we're going to be doing a battle box here. We're going to do Precon upgrades next week if you want to check that out. We stay active.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on.
You follow us, subscribe, share, do whatever you need.
Tell your mom about us.
Greatly appreciated.
I don't know why I said tell your mom. I don't know. Let's get out of here.
Well, we're both married, so don't tell your mom, maybe.
All right, gang. That should do it for this for tonight. We'll catch you guys later.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye.
Suck up. Hey gang, the best way to support the Commander Smiths is make sure you slap that like button. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel. Also, check out our online store, commandersmiths.com, where we have metal tokens, mugs, t-shirts, playmats, and more.